And welcome to the show, to the channel. Welcome to Bass and Bonsai. We are back in the house where we're always at in the house this spring, which turns back from summer to spring to winter in about 5 hours here in the Midwest. So anyway, I've got one final, hopefully for this week anyway, unboxing from AliExpress, and talk real quick about what I've done since yesterday's unboxing, which is nothing. I got a mess out here. I've got so many chatterbaits now, they won't fit, and I'm gonna have to do something different. But anyway, if you guys follow the channel, those of you who don't, real quick recap. This is my favorite color of the nobies, or any chatterbait for that matter, of a white version of a chatterbait. And this is my favorite of a, say, just a natural or green pumpkin, or we turned it into bluegill by getting the Fire Tiger. Also, these AliExpress knockoffs, the nobies, are my favorite. And I got a video dropping tomorrow of Neo, the nobi that I lost. But look, we already have a couple replicas of little Neo. And we've also got a big Neo here, which is just, you'll see. So let's do this, and then we're going to talk about, you guys, I want to hear your guys' comments below. One of you is already watching. Let me know what you guys think of the whole forward-facing sonar shakedown fiasco that's creating between it and Scott Martin calling people for advice on where to fish. I don't know what to do with these people. And comment below if you even care about any of it. Of course, I guess you don't care about this channel. Whoever you were, you already dropped off the face of the earth. But anyway, you guys are all still at work. I always get off early and do these quick little unboxings. So we've got our final little chatterbait order. I'm not ordering another chatterbait for about 4 years, or until we lose all of one color, which we already have multiples of. So anyway, just to maybe proof that you guys see I'm serious when I'm telling you these are my two favorite colors nowadays. Now, plus the fact black and blue with the gold blade, but I already have a bunch of those. So to make sure I never, ever, ever run out of that color or that size, which I have now 4, counting, I believe I add in my, well, and I have a couple little color variations of that. But if I even add in, somewhere in here I have an original Jackhammer that is that spot remover color. But I also added a couple half ounces. Those are all 3/8. That's still my favorite size for the overall jumping around. The shallower the water, the better. But you can slow them down. You can actually cast them out, let them sink down, and then pick up the, to a slow, just fill in the chatter, and then let them juke around. They do that better, in my opinion, than a half ounce. But a half ounce still does it. Very awesome bait. Unfortunately for us, they don't make. They only make our favorite color in the white version. And then you have to get this nasty looking Fire Tiger that only a person like Charles could love. Fire Tiger color, right? But we like that head color. So I ordered another. This one is the true replacement for Little Neo. I had already had the other 3 coming because I knew I liked that bait, and we were catching them. We switch out, put the dirty jigs. Bluegill 2, that's the Bluegill 2, not the original Bluegill. Bluegill 2 skirt on the Fire Tiger, and then bam, we've got a Little Neo. So I'll probably actually leave this one alone. So I'll tell you kind of what I got going on here, just to see if this even makes any difference. I kind of just decided to rig a couple up last night, so I'll probably leave these alone in their own little battle. Our little Neo clone, to just if I would have left it alone and left the Fire Tiger on it and put this to start with, and if those don't work, I can always go to like an orange color or some other type of trailer, but kind of have those two in a battle at some point in time to see, is there any point to even me doing all this bluegill stuff? Of course there is. It's confidence. I keep telling you guys. So anyway, little 3/8 ounce, that's our true Neo. So I'm going to tear him apart and put this other dirty jigs on there. But don't worry, I've got a few more left that I'm going to put on our half ounce for sure. I'm not leaving any of these Fire Tiger. These are both going to be half ounce versions of Little Neo. I guess Big Neo. So anyway, that's what we got going on the unboxing. That's all there was to it. I know you guys are thoroughly impressed. There's no need to really open these for you guys right now because it's the same thing, just a bigger head. But these are, well, I guess we could, just for the sake of opening stuff up, right? It's like Christmas. Let's just pull one out and double check it. For those of you new to the channel, those of you that watch this channel, you're gonna be like, dude, you repeat yourself over and over. I know. Some people are new, and sometimes you know the old, if you hear it said 3 times, it sticks better. So these are marked just like the Jackhammers. These are a knockoff, but unfortunately for us, the silver ones, they still use the silver paint. But if you really look, you'll see where it says ½ ounce. So 3/8 and ½ ounce, bigger head size. Like I mentioned, I prefer that smaller size for jumping around, but there's nothing wrong with the hat. Honestly, the ½ ounce, if you were going to buy just one bait to go out and do a lot of fishing, you probably live on a ½ ounce. I lived on a ½ ounce for the first, I don't know how many years. Every bait I bought, I went and bought a ½ ounce spinnerbait. Then you have chatterbaits in. Basically, I threw soft plastics to where they added up to a ½ ounce. I didn't put a trailer on my spinnerbaits. I got ½ ounce, pretty much every other kind of hard bait, like rattle traps. I got ½ ounce, which I believe that's roughly what the Mega Bass Vision 110 or like a jerkbait was. I threw ½ ounce. That's just what I did. So anyway, on a bait cast, then I threw spinning rod and reel was my crappie rod, and I threw crappie jig, 16th ounce, 8th ounce. So anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about the baits, and let's open one of these. Not little Neo. We already know exactly what he looks like. He's right there. Let's open one of these just to show you, give maybe a little better idea of the true copy of a Jackhammer. So if you're wanting to know, like, what are these Neo? What are you talking about? What are the noebys? I guess you say it noeby, but I switched the name to Neo, N-E-O, just like in the Matrix, right? Because he can do crazy things. He knows Kung Fu. To bass, right? He kicks their bass. So these, like a Jackhammer, have the marking under the belly. They have the dual little awesome bait keeper, but also a bait destroyer. If you try to take the bait off to put a different color and you want to put that bait back on something, that's the one downside to that style. But it has the same exact kind of hookup. It has a little better head design. There's a lot of them on AliExpress. To me anyway, the true, they're called custom bladed jig, but they're a true chatterbait. They've got the blade down there on the head, and as you can see, the ones I just got, it looks like it should be down there far enough. There's no way this could come out, kind of thing. Now, they all come with like the paint up here. It's, in all honesty, it'll fall right off pretty quick, but you may want to scrape that off on your own, kind of using the blade. If you have that feeling like the first time you get out and start casting it, you're going to be right around fish and you need it to start up immediately, like it will, have that paint cleared off. But anyway, see how easy it like starts to? The only, and I haven't found it on these yet, the downside to the Jackhammer knockoffs you're going to see on AliExpress, you do have to keep an eye. Some of them, I call it, they over sharpen. They made the hook point like too skinny for too long, kind of thing, to where if you like get caught on wood, it can kind of roll the hook point up. Possibly on the right, if you went to hook a fish, you know, caught it in the bony part. Maybe, but anyway, every so often you do need to check. You need to do that on any bait. Run your fingernail across the top. Make sure you don't feel anything. It should fall right off the hook. If you feel any kind of a catch, that means it's starting to get rolled up. Could be from wood. You could have ran across rock or something. So double check. Not only that it's sharp, because sometimes you'll get them, they still like, oh, it pokes me. But if it's got the slightest little nudge, you'll need to take something metal and run it back the other way just to make sure it's not starting to lift up. But these come right out of the package, super sharp. So far, really haven't had an issue. For the ones that I do leave the skirts on, they seem to hold on pretty good. They're tied on with like thread, not wire, but I would recommend drop a super glue, like I mentioned every time I talk about these. And then the only other thing, which I don't see it on these yet, the ½ ounce seem to be far enough in. Every once in a while, these aren't squeezed all the way in from the factory like they should be, and you need to double check that. That's the main thing on these knockoffs. And after that, they're good to go. They're pretty tough. Now, it's up to you, and I've mentioned it before. The snaps, it just depends. If you're like me and you kind of run a drag to where the drag will give, like, I don't feel that even that it looks kind of like a small snap, that's going to just open up. Now, it's a possibility if you get snagged and you're trying to, get this thing free, that's probably the first thing to give will be that snap. So you can always just switch out and get I just like the red snaps. I forget the name brand of them, but like at Bass Pro Shops, these are small ones. So these are the same size. But I get the bigger size. There's like a couple sizes that are like always on hand at Bass Pro. They keep them in stock. And I think it's one of the bigger sizes is what I run. I can't remember the exact, if it's a size 2 or 4. I don't remember. But this one's the same. And up to maybe 14 poundish, 15 tops is probably where it truly starts to lose. And this one's not even hooked right out. Oh, you need to check that. That one's not even hooked right out of the package, if you guys see that. I haven't fished this one yet, I don't think. No, that's not one I fished yet, I don't think. So anyway, double check your snaps, and if you feel a need, like that's the only thing where I see where these may not be as strong as a jackhammer is in that snap, because but honestly, in all the times I've been out fishing, the only issue I've had with these is when I very first start, not these, not the nobies, but the original like these right over here. So something like these guys, I came back with just the blade one, like the very first batch I got, and so then I double check them, and you will find them. And we found 1 or 2 of these was a little funky when we first got them, so just it's a thing to keep in mind. Okay, what else were we going to talk about? Real quick, I'm just going to give you my take. Not that you asked, but I'm going to tell you anyway, right? I'm going to throw my 2 cents in the ring of this whole forward-facing sonar. And I've done it once or twice before, but I keep hearing, like, that's all they keep popping up. I'm not going to mention the name of the people, and cheating in general also. So is forward-facing sonar cheating? Well, no, not when it's in illegal. If it's in the thing, it's not cheating. But if they were to ban it, then you used it, yes, it would be cheating. So do I feel it's like a cheating way to go out and catch fish? Here's my take. Yes, if you basically can't go find fish using other stuff and manage to catch them, if you're just sitting there constantly dangling it in their face over and over repeatedly, that's not really fishing. Like, here's the thing for me. Now, this is just my take. Not a professional fisherman, never have been, never will be, never wanted to be. These guys talk about how they always grew up watching this and they wanted to. No, I've always wanted to go bass fishing, but I really don't want to be with all those, even though I record myself now on YouTube, I don't want to be, with all those cameras and all that scrutiny, all those people, oh, we should have done this, and why do you do it? I already get enough of it from YouTube, and like, you just throw that bass back. Like, yeah, it's in the air and it hits the water. Like, it's fine. The bass is going to be just fine. The worst thing you could do is boat flip a bass in a boat and let it flop around. That's the worst thing. Trust me. You don't know how many times I've fishing around people's private ponds, or believe it or not, this is going to sound dumb. We had a carp in a pool before, and I caught the carp out, and I didn't mean to, but he got loose from me, and he flopped like 5 times. Now, this was on concrete, wasn't a boat deck, but still, he flopped like 5 times and it just killed him like that. And all I'm saying is, and the only reason I put him in the pool was just long story. It's a redneck story, but anyway, every time that fish is, now it's their way of like surviving and getting back to the water, and usually it's on like a either muddy thing they went too far or whatever, and a boat may not be the destruction thing of them, but still that carpeting, it's wiping off their protective slime coat. It's just bad. It's bad news. I know it happened to me. You watched it in videos, like when the little dinks does it. But I try to be real careful with the big bass, because just like us, me being, in my 50s now, if I fall down, flop around a little bit, it's way harder on me than it is a little, baby that you've seen them like take some stuff and you're like, how did that baby just do that and get up and it's still laughing and giggling, that kind of thing. So anyway, my take on fish care is this. I'm not a fan, and I don't do it, of sight fishing, bed fishing, going there and right when they're in the middle of trying to spawn, all that kind of stuff. Because, in all honesty, how good of a fisherman are you to just, I mean, yeah, granted, you tracked it down, but it's there and it's not going anywhere because you're in its home and it's like in the middle of spawning. Like, so I've never seen the, oh man, it's a lot of skill. You got to sit there and do this, and it's like, well, I get it, but I don't know. And I'm not saying we should like ban fishing during bass spawns and all this and that, but I don't know if we should really push and propagate it on the highest level of bass fishing the way we do. Same thing with forward-facing sonar. In my opinion, it's worse. It's as bad or worse than messing with that, because what it's done is it takes the ultimate awesomeness of bass fishing and turns it right into crappie fishing, in my opinion. Because I've went out, like the one I've tried, even when you get out there just with the stuff, take forward-facing sonar out of it, just regular sonar, down scan, side imaging, and your traditional stuff. Like you can get out there, like say they're in deeper water and they're down on the bottom and you're hovering right above them. Yes, if that's the only way, like a lot of times, like in the crazy heat of summer or in winter, that's kind of how we have to go out if we want to go bass fishing at all. We have to resort to that to catch bass. And I've done it occasionally here and there, but it's just not as fun as when the bass are actually somewhere where they're sort of feeding, right? And they feed all year long. It's just you have to you get the right time, the right things for it to come to play, and while you're trying to figure all that out, the puzzle pieces. Forward-facing sonar is you just find a school of bass and you just follow them around and you're just dangling stuff in their face until you're just like making them. I don't know. I don't know. It reminds me of back when I crappie fished. It's kind of how you did with crappie. Usually we're in big enough schools, like you could once you were on them, you're kind of on them and you just cast crappie jig around if you need to re-find them. But a lot of times, if they were suspended fairly deep, you could just basically be, hovering over them and pulling them in right and left until you got your limit or whatever in crappie. Although sort of fun on lightweight gear, it's not the same as bass fishing. And honestly, forward-facing sonar fishing, like you've seen a lot of them do it to be able to win tournaments, is hovering over there for the whole 8-hour day. It's not, it's just, I don't know. And it's definitely boring to watch. It's more boring to watch than golf. And golf is very boring. Sorry for those of you that golf. I tried it once, sucked at it. I don't like nothing about golf, and I don't like nothing about when I have been out using it. Like using forward-facing sonar seems kind of cool. You can go track them down, and you say, oh, there's a bunch of fish right there. Watch them move. And you're kind of casting to say a tree or something. But like, honestly, if you make a few casts over there, you see something come out and then they leave, they don't hit your baits. But like, in my opinion, like when I've only fished a few times several times with Matt while he had it. And we've, used it a few times like that. Like you see him, oh, watch it come, like, nope. And then we go on and, we're not in a tournament, but like we go on to look for, fish that are in the mood. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's just my take on forward-facing sonar. What I think needs to happen is that it actually just like there's only so many hooks allowed. The Alabama rigs, you can't use it in some places, or if you do, you only have to have one hook. I think something needs to be done like that with forward-facing sonar. Honestly, it needs to be kind of out of the hands of the, BASS, which they're all about the money, and it needs to be in the, counties or states or however that stuff's covered in, their fisheries and the fishery management of keeping, the bass population the way it is. Because I've made this comparison several times, like to deer hunting or to any kind of hunting. There's a season, and there's kind of a season for a reason, is because if you didn't, there would be so many people out there and you would just be, they would destroy all of it, right? So you kind of, and those of you that, I guess, I don't know a ton about hunting. I mean, I've never went deer hunting, but my whole family does. And I've been rabbit hunting, pheasant, quail. But basically, deer tags are for a set thing. Like, so if they feel the deer are getting overpopulated, you're able to get like a couple different deer, several tags or not. But then if they feel like some areas or whatever, they may shut down and only allow one, or they're just kind of a little bit of control there. What I see forward-facing sonar happening is just like certain areas could, especially the more popular, just like what some lakes have happened. A big televised thing shows up there in Falcon Lake, and like what it is, Roland Martin, Scott Martin keep talking about how good Okeechobee is, and Okeechobee ain't as good as it used to be. People act like you can't. Oh, it's an unlimited supply of bass. Charlie, you're nuts. Like, dude, it's not. You get in there, and any place I've ever seen around here that was good, they weed it out. Like all the local yokels pop up, and everybody and their brother, people don't even fish one in on the action when they know. They just hear there's this awesome bite going on, and trust me, poof, it's not good for about 5 years. So forward facing sonar basically takes anybody that which wants to, fish that way, which I guess, I don't know if they want to turn bass fishing into like crappie fishing. The only positive I see coming of it is the fact that if all them bass eventually adapt to getting spooked away from all the people out there using forward facing, because I've already heard that they can detect a ping and this and that, and they just get hounded enough by enough people out there fishing, they just spread out even more. And us bank fishermen or, structure fishermen, there'll be more bass to choose from there because they've all spooked them off. But if I'm worried about the eaters, the people out there catching them just to eat, could literally go out there, once they get that a little bit down, because you can. Now, I may be wrong, but I've already heard stories of people chasing, one big fish around, whether it be a crappie or bass, whatever, until they get it to either bite or snagged it. Whoever, I'm not saying they're lying, but however they manage to get that big fish caught, it's just, I don't know. What I do say that would be, what would make it fun for me anyway, because you guys, if you know the channel, you know how I fish. I use bigger line and different stuff too, but a lot of times I will like to go out BFS fishing, that kind of stuff. But just like I did when I was crappie fishing, I wanted a lightweight pole. I didn't want one of those big long honking whatever deals. I think it was like a 5'6". My favorite one ever was a G Loomis GL2. I think it was a 5'6". Had the solid cork and a little two black plastic deals slid up. And everybody always ended up putting electric tape on because they've slid off. Anyway, I had one of those. Man, that thing was awesome. But spinning, and then 4-pound test. Now, I know you can say, why not use 2? But like 4-pound test line, little crappie jigs, and it was kind of fun like that. So I guess maybe if they keep it and kind of made, because usually, not all the time, but usually they're out there in kind of open water, so you could battle a fish. And if you say you had to catch them on a certain class line or something, I don't know, just be to kind of give it a, make it a, more of a challenge rather than just out there yanking I don't know. You guys heard about a lot of the different scams going on, right? There's a guy that I don't know for sure. I'm just going off hearing other people talk about the guy in the kayak tournament that's like dragging fish around on a stringer and like pulling them up every couple hours and taking pics like he just caught it, and I guess did the same one, and so he got caught or whatever. I mean, they're just cheaters out there, and whatever you do, but just like RC racing, I got a quick story. We went to the Watermelon Classic in Georgia. So the kid that TQ'd in stock truck class, I was running a stock truck class. I ended up winning it, by the way. I got a big trophy somewhere around here. But the kid that TQ'd had like a 19 turn. If you guys don't know about stock, you had a certain set time in 27 degree, or I don't even remember exactly, but there's a certain stock motor. Anything less winds than that made it go faster, that's considered mod. And this kid had a 19 turn double or something in his stock truck, 10 scale stadium truck. Anyway, we're sitting there at this bench. Man, this dude's, it was a young kid, but his grandpa who's taught him that, he's like, everybody cheats. I'm like, old man? Oh, I was young then. Now I'm an old man. He was probably as old as me or older back then. And I said, I don't know who you're talking to or where you're around. I said, but I don't cheat. I said, so you can take that somewhere else. That's probably where your grandson gets it from. So anyway, long story short, they disqualified him because we turned him in. You could just tell he was cheating. You see, he was jumping stuff further than any of the other stock trucks. So anyway, I ended up winning that, by the way. Did I mention that? So I'm not sure what they're going to end up doing. So feel free to leave all your comments below. I'm going to end this video because I got to get a mess cleaned up, and I still got to find something to eat for tonight. But anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Tomorrow morning, the life of Neo, the noeby, will drop, and you'll see the short-lived life of that bait from the first time I cast it till I, spoiler alert, broke him off, and he's gone. He's down in the abyss, and now his brothers are going to be here to redeem him. So thanks for watching, guys. Got to go.